What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Shook Nasty from Shook Earth Media, and today we're talking about the new James Bond movie, No Time to Die. I just got home from the movie theater, so it's fresh in my mind. I figure let's just let out my thoughts on the camera and just see how it goes. So I will say that this review, spoiler-free. We're not going to give away too much, or I'm going to try my best not to give away too many plot spoilers or anything like that, just general impressions. So, right off the bat, I will say that seeing the extended runtime of the film, this film is 2 hours and 50 minutes, I was concerned that this would be bloated, that it wouldn't be, even these films sometimes run long, and then they still feel bloated, and they also simultaneously feel rushed. None of that is true of this film. This film, there wasn't any time wasted. It didn't feel like it was dragging on at any point. I was very engaged the whole time. I will say, as a film guy who went to film school, the cinematography was an absolute delight. I loved every scene. I could have watched this film with the sound off and still loved every second of it. Every scene has inventive, striking lighting. Action scenes are choreographed very well. There was never a point where it's like, oh, I can't tell what's happening. You know, there wasn't the shaky cam thing going on. They did have handheld shots, but they didn't have any of this, like, oh, what's happening? You know, none of that. This was a very briskly made film. I thought, overall, I really like Daniel Craig's version of James Bond. It's probably my favorite that I've seen. I'm not an expert by any means, or I've only seen a handful of ones from before I was born, right? But, my dad's a big fan, but in general, I'm a huge fan of the Daniel Craig version of James Bond. I really enjoy the more grounded take on the character. In this film in particular, you see him withholding a lot more than you see in past incarnations. He speaks without saying what he really means sometimes. You know, he's still got the one-liners, he's still got the clever stuff, and there's some really good one-liners in this movie. It's very entertaining, but in general, you know, there's scenes, like there's a bar scene early on where he's not saying what he means, and I really like that aspect of his character. I like the moodier version of James Bond. I enjoy Billie Eilish's opening song. I think it really fit the tone of the film overall. And overall, I like this more grounded approach, this moodier aspect of these films, and the more quote-unquote realistic aspect. Now, this film kind of, it's not always realistic, especially, I mean, the opening scenes have some of my favorite action in it, and there's, you know, we got the cars with miniguns attached, and bulletproof glass, and all this crazy stuff. I mean, it's not supposed to be realistic, per se. There's one particular edit where he's about to go upstairs with some, with a motorbike, and it conveniently cuts away, because we're like, okay, yeah, you can't do that. But, you know, there's death-defying stunts, all this great stuff. I really enjoy that. So, this scene, I will say the action scenes in general, there's nothing that, like, really stands out as, oh, that action scene was amazing, but the story it was servicing was very good, in my opinion. I really like there's a personal aspect, there's this through line that's going through all the James Bond films leading up to this, and it concludes in a very satisfying way. It's a very satisfying send-off to the Daniel Craig version of James Bond, so I really appreciate all that. I will say as far as criticism go, the villain, I thought the actor did a great job, and he has a distinctive look, and his motivations all make sense. It's all great, but we only really get to see him like halfway into the movie, like an hour and a half in. So it did feel like, you know, we didn't really get to see that much of him. So maybe that would have been a little better if we could see a little more. And it did feel like it had like 3 prologues before the proper plot started. There's like an opening flashback scene, and then another prologue, and then yet another prologue after that. But it all flowed and made sense once you got into the main plot. So, and it was all essential. So there's nothing that I would say that should be cut or anything like that. It just pacing-wise felt a little odd. But I will say that the cinematography is very inventive. The lighting is very distinctive. These are the first things I notice when I look at a film. You know, most people aren't like that. But when it comes to filmmaking, lighting, and cinematography is everything to me. And if that wasn't in this film, it wouldn't be what it is. And it's really refreshing to see. I've been watching a lot of television lately, and it's really refreshing to see something shot to be on a big screen. So the locations are there. We got beautiful locales. We got beautiful women. We got crazy gadgets. We got everything that a James Bond film needs. And we got the more personal aspect, the grittier aspect, the grounded aspect that Daniel Craig James Bond has been building up to this point. So, I don't know if it's my favorite of the Daniel Craig James Bonds. I have to go watch them all again, honestly. But it's up there, definitely. I really enjoyed this. And I give it a recommend. So if you are interested at all, I do recommend seeing it. And, yeah. There was, like, one logical issue that kind of bothered me. In that, I don't want to give away too much, but let's just say that there's nanites involved in a weapon, and then there's an EMP gadget that James Bond has, and the two should cancel each other out, but they don't, and they don't explain that, but I'm sure they could come up with some gobbledygook science to make it work, and it's important to the plot that doesn't work. So it doesn't really, I don't really look at it as an issue, but it's definitely something that's like, I'm thinking about after the fact, but it doesn't really take away from my enjoyment of the film at all. And I really liked the send-off. I don't want to give away anything, but it felt very fitting to me. And yeah, it felt like a definitive ending. And I think that that's what this version of James Bond really needs. With that continuing through line that they've had going this whole time, we needed something definitive, and I think we got it. So yeah, overall I like this film a lot. Highly recommend it. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you agree, disagree, whatever, I'd love to hear from you. And please subscribe for more videos about film and TV and video games, stuff like that. If you enjoy that kind of stuff, definitely stick it on Shook Earth Media. And yeah, that's all for now. This is Shuggy signing off.